All right, folks, we settle back into a regular season for the Aberdeen Wings, and that means Wings Weekly continues on. Jay Kleinknecht here, and head coach Scott Langer, of course, joining us. Coach, I thought about how to go about this, and, with 3 games in 4 days, to break down each of the games seems a little bit, overkill. But you end up going 3-0 at the Showcase with a 2-1 win over Chippewa Falls, 5-3 win over the Northeast Generals, and a 4-2 win over the El Paso Rhinos. First time, and I've been doing this quite a while, and the first time that I can ever remember that the Wings won all their games at the Showcase. Now, granted, this is the first year that it's been 3 instead of 4 games, but still a darn good showing. And you know what? You came from behind in every one of them, and you just seemed like you just kept building and kept getting stronger. When you look back at it as a coaching staff, what were your thoughts overall? Like, again, we don't need to break down each game necessarily, in specifics, but you got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, anytime you can come out of that atmosphere with all the wins, that's definitely a good thing, especially headed into regular season, within your division. But I think you've seen some resiliency in our group. We were down, I think, every game, and we were able to come back and find a way to win. And I think it's a testament to the guys sticking with the plan, staying with the structure, and just wearing teams down. It's the one thing I see from our group is we just continue to wear teams down throughout each game, and it's how we play. We're playing pretty aggressive hockey. We're a physical hockey team, so over time, you're gonna see teams that fade away a little bit if we're consistently playing that style of hockey.
Well, and that actually translates and transitions very well into my next question, which was, or is, that, and I mentioned this, I think it was last week, that even in the preseason games, it seemed to me like your team was getting better and stronger as the games went along and finished really hard. There's a level of compete, there's a level of grit there that, again, even when they're behind, they find a way to wear teams down. And I thought it was especially evident against El Paso, where you guys just kept pushing on them. Now, what you mentioned, physicality, obviously that's a big important part of that, but what else do you attribute that to? Do you think it's the determination of some of these guys in this locker room as we look around, or what do you
I think it's it's a group of guys that want to get better, they want to learn, they seem to be really dialed in when we're making corrections, and they just kind of get it as a group, and it's been an easy group to coach so far, just from the aspect is they pick things up pretty quick, and they're willing to absorb that, what they're being taught, and to go and apply it on the ice. So I like that about this group. It's special when when you're in the middle of the room and trying to make some changes, and the group's actually paying attention and going out there and executing it. So, but I think that's one of the big things for our guys is, they're a tight group. They seem to really care about one another, and I think that's the first step in any success, is your team has to truly care about one another. And on top of that, they're desperate to win hockey games, and winning's fun. And when you're winning, everything's going good. So. But yeah, I just think we have a good group in here. We're going to see our bumps in the road. We know that, but I think we're a good enough group that we're going to find our way out of those hurdles pretty quick.
Well, and you saw some scoring from all kinds of different lines and so on. Obviously, Bulgakov had a great showcase. Gibber Cool also, a really strong showcase. Backle and Moxham, and you saw scoring from all over the place. So what does that tell you about the depth of this group as you watch it? You and I have talked for many years actually about your teams and the way you put them together and so on. There isn't necessarily a fourth line group or whatever. There's scoring from all over the place, and that level of depth has got to be hard to coach against. Are you seeing that from this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody did a pretty good job during the draft and during the tender period to identify, talented players that can play a multi-level game. Not just be a scorer, not just be a banger. Those type of players. They're guys that can kind of get it done up and down the ice. So we tend, my teams tend to rely on scoring throughout the lineup. And I expect my one line to be as hardworking as my next line, and to play the same way. I mean, yeah, you got different type of style of players. Your Leos to your Backholes are extreme different hockey players, but you expect the same results out of them.
Yeah.
You just do. I just don't think hockey's a game anymore that you can just put one line together and ride them all game and hope that they find success for your team.
Right.
For us, we want to outmatch teams on every given night, especially when we're on the road and we don't get the first change or the last change. I'm sorry. Being able to put all four lines on the ice and for the home team to have to match against that, I think that's hard to do sometimes if we're playing our game and we're playing well.
All right, moving along to, I want to talk a little bit about special teams, the power play, the penalty kill. You spent some time in the box, especially, in that first game against Chippewa Falls. There was, 7, 6, different times that you guys had to kill off penalties, not including the coincidentals. Are you feeling pretty good about the way special teams are looking?
Well, I was really happy with the penalty kill. I think our first penalty kill we gave up a goal, and then after that we settled in and we did a really good job of just creating momentum back to our side. It's the one thing I like to see is that your penalty kill can create momentum, and we scored 2 shorthanded goals on the week. So that's hard on your opposition.
Yeah.
Power play, it's just going to take some time because it's a continuity thing with players. It's these groups haven't really played with one another, so power play is a hard thing to develop, and we're just going to continue at it, spend some more time on it. But I do believe that when time comes and we really need that big one on the power play, this group can get it done.
Yeah. Well, it sure seemed that way. The showcase, as we talked about last week, always a huge event. Not only the venue, but the people, and they're just the going and coming of buses and teams and all of the things that are involved in it. So it's a different beast. But now, you settle in. You kind of settle into the regular season, and you're going to see Central Division teams. Like obviously with Watertown, a home and home coming up this next weekend. Tell us a little bit about the preparation. How does it change? I mean, you have such a short and limited time frame when you're looking at a tournament like the Showcase, but now you've got a week. Do you still keep working on just you, or do you kind of look at, okay, well, and Watertown's no slouch. I mean, I actually talked to some people from Watertown, and I was joking with them. I'm like, you're 0-3. You better find a way to win a game. And and they're like, well, what do you expect for a franchise, brand new team? I'm like, wait a minute, don't sell yourself short. That's a good quality team. They've got a lot of good skaters on that squad, and they ended up coming up with a couple of wins there at the Showcase there too. Is the preparation different, and what do you see as some keys coming up for Watertown?
Well, I mean, we get to play the same opponent back to back, which is always nice. So you do your pre-scout, you do your planning. Obviously, you continue to work on what you need to work on to be a good hockey team. But we'll be able to make adjustments after Friday night to help us on Saturday night. So that's kind of nice. It's way different than planning for 3 teams and 3 different nights at the Showcase. But yeah, I mean, the week is all about Watertown. Not many teams in our division are losing. They all had really good weeks at the Showcase. So, we come out 3-0 and we're sitting in the bottom half of the standings. So, we have to worry about ourselves. We know that we're capable of taking points against any opponent, and I think that has to be the same against Watertown. Their building's going to be rocking. When we go there, it's not going to be an easy place to play, but right now, Friday night, drop of the puck, that's the focus. We're going to get better to this week, and we're going to build ourselves up to that home opener here at the Odie, which is usually an exciting time for the players.
Oh, for sure. Middle of the division in the standings, 3 games. There's other teams in the division that have played 5 and so on, so they've got more points. So that needs to be mentioned. I feel like that needs to be accounted for. But again, as you said, Watertown, a good quality skating team, a good team that's going to have a strong presence in their building, and looking forward to a big night at the Odie Ice Center for the opener. And we'll have more information about that in just a bit. In fact, also a fan bus. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit here too. But Coach, congratulations on a 3-0 finish there at the Showcase, and come from behind wins. And you really seem like you got some salty guys out there that have got that level of compete. That it just seems like there's a lot of heart on this team early on, from what I'm seeing. And I know that, like I said, it's early, but they're showing some gravel for sure. So congrats on a great showcase. Good luck to you against Watertown. Thank you for your time. I won't keep you any longer. I know you're a busy man.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, second portion of Wings Weekly coming up with a player joining me after this.
Pro Ag Supply leads the game with Channel Seed, liquid fertilizer, and tanks. For over 40 years, we've grown lasting relationships in the region, with our family partnering with your family. So whether it's game day or planting day, Pro Ag Supply and Channel Seed are by your side. Pro Ag Supply.
L&O Transport and Farm wants you. They're currently hiring Class A CDL truck drivers and farm operators. Experience preferred, but not necessary. L&O offers great benefits like a 401k, 100% health, and year-end bonuses. Pay depends on experience, but wages are very competitive. They run the newest late model equipment and take pride in what they do. L&O Acres and Transport is a family-run business. Come be part of the L&O family. Give them a call at 605-226-0732.
Second portion of Wings Weekly continues on. Again, I'm Jay Kleinknecht, and this time I have a player joining me, and his name is Cade Moxham from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And we're going to get into a bunch of questions about hockey and stuff, but I wanted to start with your impressions of the Showcase. Have you ever been to a tournament like that, in a facility like that, in a venue like that, where you've got these huge mezzanines and tunnels underneath, and you've got all this stuff going on? What was it like for you guys, maybe making your first trip to the Showcase?
I mean, it was a huge event. Like, last time I did anything like that was probably youth hockey, where you have that many teams in one spot. But no, it was fun for sure, seeing all those teams and getting to watch games before ours. So it was good. Yeah,
I always say, and I said it in the broadcast a couple of times over the course of the week, that, if you're a Wings fan and you haven't been, take it in once, at least. Just come over and check it out, because it is the coolest thing. It's just, to have all of the NAHL teams plus the United States Development Team Program there, the U17s there, and everybody playing, you've got games going on all over the place, and there's vendors, and there's, a cafe, and there's all kinds of different things happening. It's quite the event. And coming out of that 3-0, as I was just talking to Coach Langer about, is a big deal. That's pretty cool. And you guys got to feel like you've got some confidence behind you right now, as you roll on into the as I was saying to Coach Langer, kind of settling into the regular season now when you're playing Central Division teams. And we'll talk more about Watertown in just a bit, but the confidence level has got to be pretty good as you're rolling back on the bus and you come back to the Dirty Dean here in Aberdeen at the Odie Ice Center, and you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were kind of hoping to go 3-0, and we thought we could, because we're a close group of guys off the ice, and just to actually do it, our first regular season games, get those out of the way, win those, yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, and I honestly thought, I knew, looking at Chippewa and looking at the Generals, looking at El Paso, those are tough. That's a tough draw. Those are good teams, and especially El Paso. Now that's a weird 9:30 of the morning game and so on, but they got up early, and you guys came back. They get the lead early, I should say, not up early. Well, we all got up early because it was a 9 o'clock game. So, he came back against them, and I honestly thought that El Paso might have been one of the strongest contenders. But you guys handled them well and really wore them down. Do you feel that as the game is going along? Can you sense the fact that you're like, all right, they're getting soft and we're hitting them. We're working this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think every game at the Showcase we started down a goal, but we just keep going, and by the third period, it almost feels like we're at our best hockey there. So we just keep going, and we try and suffocate them in their own zone, and eventually wear them down, and goals will come.
And I just got to feel like, I know it's so early in the season and it's hard to, I don't want to be overexcited, I guess, or whatever. But as the season goes on, when you know that you can be down a goal and come back, and that you're playing that well in the third and so on, it just feels to me like that's something that the bench is going to feel as the year goes. You're not going to necessarily feel that doom and gloom. It's more like, now, man, we got this. We're hanging in there. So very cool, and congratulations on that. All right, you're a centerman, and a darn good one. I watched a lot, and I'm like, every time unless they tossed you, which I wasn't sure why they were doing that, but when you're winning face-offs, and coach always says, when you start with the puck, it's a good thing, and you guys were really strong on the face-off dot and so on, really, like I said, and unless a winger had to come in and take the draw, you were really, really strong. What makes a good centerman? What makes you good at the face-off dot and being able to control those draws?
I think just being prepared. We have all of our plays. We know all our plays. The wingers know them. So just knowing what you're going to do beforehand, whether you win or lose it, knowing where the pucks can go, where your wingers are going, it's just all the outcomes. So it's very easy to go in there when you know that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then, like I said, I noticed on several occasions over the course of those games where it was like, man, I think there were 8 or 10 straight draws that were won by you guys, and I'm like, man, that's that's a good start for sure. Did you ever play any other positions, or were you always kind of like a center?
This is my second season at center.
Really?
I played left wing pretty much my whole life. Last season I played right wing for most of the season, but then I came here and they put me at center, so just kind of got used to it again.
Huh, that's interesting. I always feel like, unless you're a goalie, some of these players, they're a little bit interchangeable. I've even seen some defensemen when we're a little injured or beat up that have come down and played wing or something, and I'm going like, they did a good job. How do
yeah.
Like I said, goalie's probably a different a beast, but otherwise, I always ask people about their influences and how they got started in hockey. Clearly, your dad was a big influence. He had a strong career in juniors and at the collegiate level and so on, and then coaching as well. So no doubt he was. When did you start?
I probably started as early as possible. I think I was first on the ice at 3 or 4, just at the local lake in our community, and then I started Timbits all the way up till now. I've been playing my whole life. Most Canadians.
Canadians and Minnesotans. It's sort of just kind of here, this is what you do. But again, as I mentioned, your dad obviously a big influence. How involved is he, in your junior career here? Is he one of those guys that watches film and breaks it down and says, "Hey, here's what you did this wrong, you did that wrong. We need to tweak this." Or
no, he pretty much just lets me do my own thing now.
Yeah.
When I was younger, he was pretty involved. Now I know what to do. He lets me do my own thing. I'll get a text after the game this was good, this was bad, but for the most part, it's just just freedom.
Yeah. Well, and I always say, it's got to be, it's beneficial. You have a little bit of a leg up when you have somebody that has, had the level of success and the level of experience that someone like he has, where, there's other guys that I talk to and I'm like, well, how'd you get started? Well, neighborhood kid, was playing and asked me to come, whatever, but had nobody really to lead them or guide them. So that's pretty cool. And certainly no doubt helps you. You spent some time in the AJ. You've been playing hockey, like you said, since you were 3 years old. You've been in and out of a lot of locker rooms, no doubt. What is the atmosphere in this group? You mentioned earlier that it was a pretty tight group. What's the chemistry like?
Well, I think from day one of camp, everyone got along great, and that's like, usually it takes a while for guys to get comfortable with each other, but here it was like right away.
Yeah.
So that was off to a great start already, and then practices are intense. Everyone hangs out after. Like, it's not much more you could ask for.
And that's great to hear, from a Wings fan standpoint, because, sometimes different groups, you have these, I don't want to say cliques, but you have these different groups that kind of go off different directions and so on. But when you have a whole group that can, be together as a team, and everybody's got each other's backs and so on, that's a good sign, a good look for the whole season. Impressions of Aberdeen. What do you think? You come to Aberdeen, 28,000 people, flat as a pancake. There's not a whole lot of trees or anything. We're out here in the Great Plains. What were your first thoughts when you got to Aberdeen?
It's pretty similar to where I've been playing the last 2 years. That was a town of 10,000 though, so a little bit smaller, but I love it here. It's awesome. You got everything you need, Target, Walmart, all that stuff. So I love it.
And of course, all the mom and pop shops that we love to support, and the Wings are involved with so many different things community-wise too. You guys probably haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of that just yet, other than some autographs and stuff at like Brown County Speedway, as the racing season ended and so on. But as the Salvation Army bell ringing, the YMCA with floor hockey and all the kinds of different things that you guys do, or at Boys and Girls Club, all kinds of things like that. So you'll get a chance to be out in the community even more. And the Wings, I know that the Wings take that pretty seriously. They love to be involved with the community and be that kind of outreach, and it helps build the fan base too, because some little kid that you're helping out at floor hockey at the YMCA, they're like, go home, and they want to tell their mom and dad, I was hanging out with Moxham, I want to go watch him play, or whatever it might be. Have you guys, had a chance, or do you recognize, maybe I should say, to see, I guess, how important, that community involvement is?
Oh, for sure. We haven't had a whole lot of chances here to do all that stuff yet. It's still early.
Yeah.
But just playing juniors in the past, it's like you see that. You go to schools, hand out tickets, whatever. The kids love it. They all know your name. They come to the games. That's like what they live for. So it's great.
I remember the first year the Wings were here, and I've probably said this before, but the first year the Wings were here, the termite level, which is the very youngest, 5-year-olds, the Aberdeen Hockey Association, it went from like 22 kids the year before to like 64 the next year after the Wings were here, because you guys have such a big role, and you have, these kids are looking up to you, and they're loving coming here. You see these kids with their sticks, playing in the walkways and stuff during games and all kinds of things. So I'm glad that you recognize that, because it is an important part, an important piece of growing hockey, and I know that means a lot to Mr. Odie and Coach Langer as well. All right, getting away from the hockey talk for a moment here. If you had one food to eat, like you weren't allowed to eat anything else for 1 year, what would it be?
Oh, my billet already knows this. Buttered chicken. It's delicious. Got everything you need.
Buttered chicken?
Yeah, like you get from an Indian place, like tikka masala.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's awesome.
I've never had that. So is it like grilled chicken with butter on it?
It's just like chicken and rice with this sauce on top.
Oh, Okay.
That's unreal.
That sounds fantastic. I've never had that, but it does sound very good. All right, if you had a superpower, if you could fly, you could be invisible, you could read minds, you could do anything, what would your superpower be?
Flying would be pretty cool, but I was like the Flash when I was younger. That was my favorite, so probably speed.
Run. Okay, well, good choice there. What's your game day ritual look like? What do you have? A lot of, we know hockey players are often very superstitious. There's, what goes back to Wayne Gretzky and having the one side of his sweater tucked into his breezers, or, well, I call them breezers. Everybody else calls them hockey pants, I guess. But, things like that. There have been a lot of guys over the years that have a certain way of going about their day. First of all, do you have any superstitions?
No, I try and stay away from that stuff. It's too distracting, but I do like to put the right side of my gear on first. That's about it.
How about your day? Like, you eat at a certain time? Do you nap? Most guys take a nap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? You're a napper? Yeah.
Like to take a long nap and then get up, shower, and then get ready to go.
Come out to the rink and get ready to roll. All right. I was talking with Coach Langer just a little bit ago about Watertown, a very good team, and they are new, obviously, and they're building their fan base, but it's growing. We had a home-and-home with the exhibition games with them, and their building was, I'm not going to say it was sold out because I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was darn close. And there were a lot of Wings fans that traveled to that one as well, but they're building their fan base. They're building as a group. They won 2 games at the Showcase, one of which in overtime. A solid contender, whether they're new or not. What do you think are some keys as this group, as you prepare for the Shamrocks? What do you got to do?
I think we just keep doing what we've been doing. Just wear them down. We're obviously bigger team, older, faster, so I think we'll have no trouble just wearing them down throughout the game.
Well, again, I think Watertown, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, so take it for what it's worth, but I think they're going to get better and better as the season goes along, like most teams obviously do. But there are teams, I've seen the Austin Bruins over the years where they start really strong and kind of plateau at about the Christmas break. And they start to, I don't want to say fall, but they just level off where some of the other teams are, continuing to grow and get stronger. I would not be surprised to see Watertown do that. So certainly not a team to look past, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, Cade, I tell you what, I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us here on Wings Weekly and letting the fans get to know you a little bit. Not only from inside the visor, but outside, what you like to do and all of those kinds of things, as far as, like I said, that's why I ask goofy questions about food and things like that, because it helps people relate a little bit. You know what I mean? All right. Well, folks, we have, as we talked about, the Watertown Shamrocks coming up this weekend. Friday, October 4th is the home opener here at the ODI Center. $15 corporate bar stool seats are available. Call Aaron for more information or to get yours. Tickets available at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or any of the Sea Express locations. Crafted Interiors sponsoring the Skate with the Wings following the game on Friday night. And when we say skate with the Wings, if you don't already know, doesn't mean you actually have to skate. You can just walk out there, talk to the boys, and maybe get some autographs, talk with them a little bit, and so on. That's coming up on Friday, October 4th. And on the 5th, we travel to Watertown. There is a fan bus that's going. You can contact Aaron Smith for more information on that, too. And next weekend, the following weekend, Friday and Saturday, October 11th and 12th, it's against the North Iowa Bulls, who also had a pretty strong showcase. Sponsorships and reserve season tickets are now available for the 2024-2025 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or X, as it's now being called, and on Instagram. So once again, I appreciate you very much to take some time. I know you guys are very busy, but Cade Moxham, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck against the Shamrocks.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.